Well, good morning, friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Renee. And today we got a couple things going on in the kitchen. You're going to hang out with me. We're going to chit-chat. We're going to make pecan pies. And I got to show you this enormous chicken that I got. I'm going to roast it because I want to debone it and save the meat, package the meat up for my freezer for other meals. And I want to take the bones and make some chicken broth because my daughter said she was out of broth. So we're going to do that. And we may very well get one more dish in because this week I'm spending time getting ready for our Thanksgiving. The chicken has nothing to do with Thanksgiving. I just need to get that out of my freezer and get that cooked up. But I would like to put together a baked macaroni and cheese, a freezer meal, because that's what we're going to have also on Thanksgiving for a side. So this week, it's just all about getting ready for Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving is on Saturday, so I got a couple days. So with that being said, my daughter told me, Mom, would you please make me some pecan pies for Thanksgiving? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to make her 2 of them. And I told her, I said, Susie, I said, do you got room in your freezer? Because I don't got a whole lot of room in my freezer. And she says, absolutely. And I says, okay, I can send the pies home with you in the freezer. And she says, absolutely not. I'll eat every one of them. She says, every last crumb will be gone before Thanksgiving. So we've got to hide them in my freezer. So we'll make room for this. Anyway, we're going to crack these eggs. And these are all double yolkers. Look at that. I might only need to do 3. No. They're pretty small double yolk. I'm doubling this recipe, okay? But when I remember, I will put it in a description box as a single pie. But I'm doing double, so I'm using 6 eggs. A single pie would be 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. I got 6 here. All right. And 1 small double yolk, so it's equivalent to a jumbo egg. I got all jumbo eggs. Okay. We got our, let me put my recipe right here next to me. We're going to whip these up, break these, and get those beat up really good. Everything goes right in this bowl. This is the easiest thing. I think these are easier than apple pies to make. Well, except for my German apple pie. Probably the same. Which I am going to make a monster one of them, too, because my family loves them as well. I got to do pecan, apple, and pumpkin. That's what they want. All right, so with this, we're going to add, let's see right here, we're going to add 2 cups of sugar to this. I'm just going to mix all this up in the same bowl. I've got my pie shells over on the counter. I was digging through my freezer, and I usually keep homemade pie shells in my freezer but I ran out. I didn't have any. I thought I had them in there, but apparently I used them because they're not there. I need a 1/4 cup because this calls for 6 tablespoons of brown sugar. So my brown sugar is getting a little hard in there. I can soften that up pretty good. There we go. Okay, so to that, we've got the sugar and the eggs. We'll get this mixed up. It all goes in the same bowl, but I like to make sure I get that brown sugar busted up. Mine is getting a little bit hard. I'll have to get my little wet terracotta piece in there. Moisten it up. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do 2 teaspoons, or excuse me, 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to do 2 cups of corn syrup. So is what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this. And that way it'll slide out of there like greased lightning. Okay? Best thing to do with that. And honey and syrup of any kind. Alright, 2 cups. No, a little more. Almost used my whole bottle there. Alright. We got it. So we got the carob syrup going in. See how nice that comes out of there? Scrape it just a little bit. Okay. Now we also have some melted and cooled butter. That's going to go in there too. And that is, mine is 2/3 cup. It's a 1/3 cup of butter. We need our 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then we can mix this all up. I have to look at my camera. Sometimes it shuts off on me. It's my phone. I haven't gotten my other one yet, my lens to my other camera. And sometimes the phone turns off on me. Okay, let's get this all mixed up. It might take a minute, be patient, but you want to get it mixed really good. You can even use a little electric mixer on this. A hand mixer. I'm just mixing it this way. That's thick. You got a piece of brown sugar in there. All right, we got that. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, that looks pretty good. I got ice falling off my house already. The sun's beating on it. It's definitely winter here in northern Michigan. Okay, so now we got, let me move this stuff. I gotta wipe that off. That will be a big mess if I don't. Okay. So my 2 pie shells. And my pecans. We're going to do a cup and a half in each pie shell. Dump it right in the bottom of each pie shell. You could mix it in. You don't have to. They'll wind up floating to the, they'll find their way to the top. I always put a little extra in just for good measure. Beautiful. All right. Now we're going to mix these, or fill these as even as we can. Okay. And you'll see in a minute how the pecans float to the top. And then you can decide if you want a few extra on there. All right, that looks good. Let me wash my hands up. See those? How the pecans floated to the top? Gorgeous. That's what you want. That's why it's not necessary to mix them in with the batter. Beautiful. Okay, now these, I don't think I need any more pecans on there. That's beautiful. These are going to bake at 350 degrees, which I need to put I always put a tray in there under them in case they drip. But these are going to bake 350 degrees. You're going to check them in 30 minutes. We'll be here, so we'll check them. And if you have to go, you bake them for 30 minutes. You check them. If the edges are getting a little brown, you just cover them up real lightly with a piece of tin foil, and you just keep checking them. These could take anywhere from 60 to 70 minutes to be completely done. When you take them out of your oven, they may be a little bit jiggly in the middle, and that's fine. Not too jiggly though. So when the oven preheats, we'll put them in there. And then we can get that going, and there's a couple other things I want to do. I'll get this mess all cleaned up because I can't cook in a mess. Not at all. It's a beautiful day. The sun's coming in again. Gorgeous day outside. We got all that snow. Alright, put all my stuff away. I can put some of this right into my dishwasher, but not that one. This can go in there. I love my dishwasher. Absolutely. This I can put in here on the top. These I don't put in there. That I don't. This can go in there. This I don't. These I don't. And these I save for my compost. So I always toss them in my sink. My eggs. My eggshells. I'll put those in my compost bucket. We'll be ready to go. can get the macaroni going for my macaroni and cheese. And that'll be good. That's so easy to put together, really it is. And I'll show you that. You don't have to do it for Thanksgiving, but you can do it for just to make a head meal. Just to have a make a head meal. You know, works good. And if you guys have any freezer meals, or any ideas for freezer meals that you might want to see me do, all you gotta do is mention it in the comments, and we'll put them together. My daughter's family, they eat anything. They are not picky eaters whatsoever. None of this, well, I don't like that, and I don't like this. My husband's the pickiest one in the family, and the only thing he won't eat is mushrooms. So, my kids didn't grow up picky. They couldn't. They had to eat what was put in front of them because I didn't have a whole lot. So I didn't raise them picky. Now I had a friend years ago. She would make dinner for her kids. She had 3 boys. And she had to make a different meal for each one of those boys because they didn't like this or that or the other. And she says, I don't know why these kids are so picky. I said, that's your fault. You serve your kids, you know, that's your fault. You enabled them to be that way. My kids aren't like that. They eat what's put in front of them, and that's it. I never had them tell me I didn't like this or I didn't like that, but I could not imagine making 3 different meals for my kids at dinner time. Absolutely no way. You eat what's put in front of you. That's how I was raised. You eat what's put in front of you or you go without. Your choice. Because you'll get hungry enough to eat. And I'm sure that's how a lot of you were raised. At least us, you know, a little bit older generation. There we go. Just put it back up here. Yes, and that pie is fantastic. And I'll tell you where I got that recipe. Years ago. Years ago. I think probably 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. I used to watch Food Network a lot. I loved that show with Paula Deen on there and Ina Garten, all the older ones, you know. And Ree Drummond was on there. And she had a pecan pie recipe. Well, that's where this pecan pie is. It's Ree Drummond's pecan pie. And it is the most fabulous pecan pie I've ever had myself. So I've saved it all these years. No, it's not in my cookbook. Any of you ask, it's not in my cookbook because most of the recipes that are in my cookbook are either, quite frankly, I don't know where they come from. It's stuff that I've gathered over the years, or they were my grandmother's, my mother's, and my aunts, you know, and my uncles, because they all cooked. I don't put a recipe in there that, you know, somebody that belongs to somebody else unless I credit them. So I just didn't put hers in there. I didn't feel right about it. But I can share it on YouTube. I mean, recipes aren't copyrighted. However, when you get a cookbook, the recipe itself is copyright free. I mean, you can't, they didn't invent the recipe, so therefore they can't lay claim to it. But the instructions, when you can put those in your own words, those can be copyrighted. You know, that can be a copyright infringement. So, but I just never do that anyway. And I'm sure that I have a few recipes in my box that come from, you know, somebody from Food Network or something like that, but that's all right. I guess if you don't want to share a recipe, if you don't want others to use it, don't put it out there. Because once it goes out on the internet, it's all free game. People are going to get it. They're going to use it. They're going to love that recipe. Some people are going to make it their own. Who cares? You know? I got to wipe off this counter over here. I got stuff all over it. Okay, so let me shut this, and then we can put our pies in the oven. I need to put a tray over here. I'll put 2 over there, just in case they leak. Those are going to be beautiful. All right, so we're going to tell Alexa, set a 30-minute timer.
30 minutes, starting now.
I just love her. Okay, I'm going to gather the stuff for our macaroni and cheese, and we'll get that going. We got several things we can do. That sun coming in is pretty bright, isn't it? I'm loving it. I did get curtains, but they're not, I didn't want to put black curtains up there, you know, so we'll work with it. I think when I get my other camera back, I can figure out the lighting, and it'll work good. Okay? We'll go in here into the pantry. I have a hard time getting home now. Maybe I got it that time. It's a little full. We got it. I put them in these pans. I get these pans from Dollar Tree. These are nice pans. These go under here. Okay. So I'm not going to do 2. I'm only going to do 1. Gosh, I love coming in here. Sometimes I just come in here, and I've got a friend that gave me some dates, whole pitted dates. And I know there's something that I can do with them besides just eat them, you know. I might make a energy ball or some energy cookies, or maybe make some date nut cookies or something. But I am going to make something with these, even if I use them for my Christmas cookies. My grandmother, my grandmother Fink, had a wonderful recipe for date-filled cookies. And I can't seem to get that recipe from my aunt. How I wish I could. But that's all right. She doesn't want to share it. She says it's a family secret. I said, well, what am I, chopped liver? You know, I'm family. So anyway, so I can't get that, and that's all right. She can have it. I don't think there's anything else in here I want to do right now. Okay, so we're going to take these out. And I am going to make, I love coming in here. You come in and stand in the middle of your pantry, and you're like, okay, what am I going to make? When I was younger and my kids were little, I'd open up my refrigerator, and it was like, oh my God. Nothing in there, right? I didn't have much of a pantry until, you know, they I think 5 and up. But when they were real little, there's just no way. I didn't have anything, you know. So I'd think, God, what am I going to feed them? You know, and now I come into my pantry moons later, and it's just bulging at the seams. My freezers, my root cellar, and I think, what do I want to eat? You know, it's not what can I make. It's, oh, I got so much here, I don't know what I want to eat. That's a good feeling, friends, especially when you've been on both sides of that street. So, I think that's it. I think we'll just go on out there. We're going to do a freezer meal probably next week. We're going to do stuffed shells. My daughter wants some of those for her freezer. We got quite a few things we're going to do. We're going to have fun. This afternoon, after we're done baking, well, because that chicken, oh my God, that chicken is flipping enormous. My Amish friend raises them, the meat birds. I don't know, they're not your typical Cornish cross. I don't know what the breed is, but they're huge. These turkeys or chickens are about 9.5 pounds a piece. And I bought 2 of them from her. Well, the one I already cooked up and I used the meat. It was delicious, right? And I used it in several casseroles and several meals. And I got the other one. And I don't want to keep them in the freezer. Now, they've been in there for 3 months now. So I want to cook it up and debone it and, you know, package it how I could use it like I did the first one. But they're so big, that thing's going to take about 2 hours, 3 hours to cook. So while that's cooking, we might sneak up to the resale shop and see what they got going on out there. That's the recycling plant that my husband is driving for. I know I've taken you up there before with me. He drives for them, but they also have a resale shop in the front of the warehouse. So we might go visit that too. We're done in here. We're going to take these noodles out. Oh my goodness, they're heavy. We don't need the pan quite yet. Okay. Oh, I got to turn the light off. Okay. I got a couple reviews coming up. I know one person was a little obnoxious to me. I'll say that right now. Let me fix this. I had one person that was, well, I've been smoking. Whew. Something on the bottom of it. Anyway, I had one person that was just so obnoxious. Oh my goodness. They said, would you don't be getting into doing those reviews because you're using your viewers to get free products. Absolutely not. I have done several reviews over the last 6-7 years I've been on YouTube. I've done quite a few reviews. Mostly they were reviews on, you know, the vacuum sealer machines or, you know, little things like that. But I'm going to tell you something. I have given away everything I've reviewed. The only thing that I have kept that I've reviewed, honest to God, is my dishwasher. I love that thing. Now, I've got a company that sent me a indoor grill, like air fryer, grill, gizmo. We're going to check that out and see how that is. But we won't keep it. We always give it to somebody who could use it, you know. We're not in that. We don't sell it. So, you know what? The person that said that can just keep right on moseying along because you obviously don't know me. Shame on me. Am I a little salty today? Okay, we are going to add, I'm going to put 2 of them. I'm going to put 1 on each eye. And I just lay it on top. That's all I do. There will protect your crust from getting too brown. All right, so now we need to get water going for our noodles. I like to use a big full pot of boiling water to cook my noodles in. And I don't add salt until it's boiling for two reasons. Salt can ruin, it can pit your pans. So you don't want to put salt in it until it's boiling. And once you put your noodles in there, you want to salt that just before you put your noodles in, because once your noodles are cooked, you have lost your chance to season them. The only time you can season them is when they're cooking. So put your salt in first so that your noodles can absorb that salt water and add extra flavor to whatever dish you use. Okay, we're going to use our big pan there. And I've got a lot of cheese. I like to use like a soft Velveeta cheese as well as a sharp cheddar because that really flavors your macaroni. Okay, so to this, we're going to need about 6 tablespoons of butter. And we've got 1, 2.5, 5. We'll use these. Always, when you make your roux, you use equal parts of butter and flour. And then, kind of a general rule of thumb, say I'm using 6. So with that, I'm going to want 6 cups of milk. If I use 3, I'm going to want 3 cups of milk. Keep it all even. And I'm hoping I got enough milk. Oh, I got plenty of milk. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to turn that up. Set these aside. Because this is real easy to do. I need to grab, what is it? Nothing, I guess. My milk. So that I'm ready for it. And I need to add it. Okay. So we got that. That's starting to melt. Let me scooch up here. I love that other table I got. It has made so much room in my kitchen. So much working space. Okay, you're not going to see me, but you will see the pan. We're just going to give that a, we want that good and melted. I have a mix of margarine and butter in here, and that's okay. Let that melt up real good. While that's melting, I'm over here on this side. Yeah, I'm going to work on cutting up some cheese. I just cut that in chunks because it's just too soft to shred. So I just cut in chunks and it melts pretty good. Okay, now we're going to want 6 tablespoons of flour. And it would be 1/4 cup and 2 tablespoons, but my 1/4 cup is dirty. Okay, I'm going to turn this down a little bit because you don't want this roux. See how it's browning? I got to take it off there. You don't want it to get too brown. You want it a blonde color. We'll turn this way down. Might not do that in your pan, but cast iron, it does. But we want to cook that for a few minutes so that it cooks the flour taste out of there. Okay, we'll just let that cook for just a few minutes. I'm cutting this cheese. And I can just break it up in there. Okay. That looks really good. Alright, so now we're going to do our 6 cups of milk. There we go. Mix that really good in there. Turn it up just a hair. I'm not going to add any salt to this. Not right now, but I am going to add some pepper. You all know my family loves pepper. And I've got beautiful sharp cheddar, so that I'm not going to season this with anything else except pepper and the cheese. Just got good flavor. And depending on, you know, taste, we may add some salt to it. And we like this real cheesy and creamy. Okay, so we're just going to let that go a little bit. Our water's almost to a boil. This will start to thicken as it gets hotter. I had this when I was young. When my kids were young, I would make a roux like this with the milk, just like this. And once this thickened up, that would be our gravy. And I'd put some extra spices in it or whatever, but they loved it over toast and mashed potatoes and everything. And we called it poor man's gravy. Who would have known that it was a beautiful bechamel, you know? Okay, now that our water is boiling over there, we're going to take the lid off this. We're going to get our salt in there. We're going to get our noodles in here. We're going to turn it down because I don't want this to cook all the way through. I'm going to cook this just al dente because this will also bake in the oven. So we're going to leave it just like that. This is starting to boil a little bit. Beautiful. Okay, I am going to start breaking up this chunks of cheese in here. And I don't care if it winds up being chunky. When my macaroni and cheese is done and in the pan, that's all right with me, because once this goes into the oven, that will all melt. And of course, we always give it a nice stir, so it's perfectly fine. We're just going to melt all this up. I might need more. I'm not sure. I'm going to start out with that amount. I'm also going to start out with a nice amount of cheese in there. Now is when I'm going to turn it down on low, because I want all that cheese to melt and I don't want nothing to burn. See how that's getting nice and thick? Beautiful. We're going to turn that right on low. I could even turn it off. I could. Just turn it off and let it just melt. See that? Beautiful. I'm making a mess. Absolutely. That's going to be some beautiful cheese. Beautiful, beautiful macaroni and cheese. And that sharp cheddar. That will be just wonderful. Now the noodles will absorb all the rest of the liquid on here, and it will just be a creamy, dreamy macaroni and cheese. Beautiful. That is a gorgeous sauce right there. Okay. We're just going to let that sit there and finish melting. I want to taste it. Oh, that's delicious. That doesn't need anything. That doesn't even need salt. Okay, so these are going to cook. I'm going to get this cleaned up. And then when we get ready to put this together, I'll bring you back and we'll get it done. Okay. Our noodles are done, so I'm going to start scooping this because I cannot lift this pan. I'm just going to start scooping this up until the pan gets light enough that I can lift it. We're going to mix it right up in this pan and then dump it in my aluminum pans. And I put two of them together because the ones you get at Dollar Tree are a little on the flimsy side. And by gosh, I don't want this to crack or anything in the freezer. So I just put 2 of them together. And you can do that. It doesn't hurt anything. Maybe for other stuff, you know, I would trust one pan, but not with this. Okay, now I need a hot pad. There we go. We got the rest of that in there. And these noodles they're just barely al dente. Okay? Let me fill that up. They're just barely al dente, so they will continue to cook and they'll absorb a lot of that sauce. See that? Beautiful, hey? I know it almost looks like a macaroni and cheese soup, but I guarantee you it will turn out with nothing less than perfection for you. Okay, so we are going to pour this. See, I got these 2 pans put together. Perfect. We are going to pour this in these 2 pans. And look at that, friends. I couldn't do that again if I tried. Measuring that up. I eyeballed it and I thought, well, perfect. Now that's just going to sit on the counter and that's going to cool. I'm also going to put some pepper on this. Beautiful. Look at these. Somebody sent me the electric salt and or battery operated salt and pepper shakers. Now it has to be somebody that I know from around here, and I'm thinking it might be my neighbor, because anybody on YouTube only knows my P.O. box, and only my friends in my community know my house address, and these came addressed to my home. So that's how I knew it had to be somebody that knew me. And of course, I always love to put a little bit of parsley on stuff. Just a little bit. And then when this is all cooled off, I'll wrap this up and I'll set it on a tray in the freezer. We will not even need to add any cheese to that. That's going to be gorgeous just the way it is. You could also put a breadcrumb topping on it, and we very well could do that, but not right now because it is going to go in the freezer and then it is going to go back in the oven. Okay, friends, our pies are done, and I'll give you a close-up. They're beautiful. Our macaroni and cheese turned out just divine. And I told you, it looked real soupy. I said, trust me, it will turn out nothing less than perfect. And there it is. So, I was going to do the roast chicken. I'm going to have to put that off until tomorrow's video, friends, because I have something unexpected come up. So I'm going to have to take off out of here real soon, go get what I have done, and then come back. By the time I come back, these will all be nice and cool, and I'm just going to lightly cover them with foil for right now because they do have to completely cool before they go in the freezer. So when I come back, these will be all ready to be wrapped up and put in the freezer. So there you have it, friends. I sure hope you had a nice time hanging out with me. And we will do another video tomorrow. We're going to do the chicken, and there's probably a few other things I'm going to have to do since I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving. You all have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow, and thanks for watching.